Hey English 112, I am just finishing going through some of your posts on the discussion forum. So I wanted to wait to post a video until you guys had a discussion forum this week so we could talk a little bit, or I could talk a little bit about some of the stuff you guys said and kind of get some thinking going for where we're going to be heading with the finishing of Othello this week as you read it and finish it. So I don't know if you've noticed that my camera might be maybe not shaking as much. It's because I got a little doohickey to hold the phone up so that you don't have to deal with my shaky hand anymore. And we're going to kind of be brief this week because you're doing the same thing every week that you've been doing. So things aren't really different like assignment-wise or anything like that. It's just a matter of reading and finishing the play. So I wanted to take just a few minutes and talk about your discussion forum from last week. So I made some notes, but first I just want to kind of talk about the idea of this reputation that Cassio talks about. And when you guys were talking, I think it was on Haley's post, McKenna mentioned something interesting. She talked about Iago's character. And character is different than reputation, right? So I have this quote that I think I use it in my English 111 class on that Moodle forum. I put quotes up every week. And it says something about, being worried about your character more than your reputation, because your character is who you really are and your reputation is who other people think you are. And I think that that's a valuable quote, and it kind of gets back to Iago's character, which McKenna mentioned, because we know Iago's character, and the reason that we know that is through his soliloquies, right? So a soliloquy is someone's innermost thoughts. No one else is supposed to be hearing it. It's what they're thinking. So it's kind of like a voiceover in a movie. In a play, it comes through a soliloquy. Sometimes other people hear the soliloquies, right, in the play, but most of the time it's for the audience to know more about that character and their innermost thoughts. What are they actually thinking? So it's helpful that we know Iago's character and we know what his plans are because of his soliloquies. His reputation, on the other hand, is pretty good, especially by Othello at this point in time, right? So Othello thinks he's a good guy. He believes he can trust him. And he believes that Iago is, being gentle, being kind to Cassio, when really Iago is setting Cassio up the whole time. So Othello kind of falls into this trap of believing in one person's reputation over the other, when really, when you look at their character, it's kind of the opposite. And that was kind of the point of the discussion question, okay? Because I know that I personally know people who are praised and are kind of like seen as these wonderful, great people. When you really get to know them, that's not necessarily the case, okay? Their character is not exactly like their reputation, okay? Same as like, if you're very straightforward or to the point, you might have a reputation of being rude when really your character is just being honest. So there are ways to kind of get those things, tripped up and not quite the same. So it's relevant, the question for the discussion, and our real life experiences are relevant because that's something that Shakespeare writes about in this play and we still to this day kind of deal with. When someone talked about Cassio and being worried about his reputation, it was Christian B, I wrote down, I don't know, Christian B. But I wanted to know why do we think Cassio is so concerned with his reputation? And really look at the way that Iago is using reputation, is using hearsay, is using the thought of what someone might be like to completely ruin people. So reputation, even though we don't want it to be that big of a deal, it is. And when Iago says it's not that big of a deal, is he saying then what he really knows? Is he saying the truth? Or is he trying to downplay things so that people play into exactly what he wants to happen? Okay. What else do I want to say? Yeah, so when Iago says he doesn't think much about reputation, I guess Christian M said that, but he doesn't think much of it outwardly. Like, he doesn't give off the impression that he thinks much of it, but really it's what he's using to bring people down, and he's using things with no real evidence, right? Just the implication, the reputation, what people think about you to completely bring people down. So he knows how powerful it really is, okay? Let's see, what else? Okay, so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about when it comes to like the discussion question. And now I want to talk a little bit about last week too, because I just want to talk about that view of women, and we're going to get back into that again after Act 4 and 5. So Iago's view of women we learn in Act 2. And we learn that Iago views women as disposable. He views them as frivolous, as a waste, right? Yet he still desires women, right? And he has this desire that we learn about for Desdemona. But what is that desire? What is the reasoning for that desire? Does he actually want her, or does he want what she represents? He wants what she represents. He wants to get back at Othello. And so he thinks that he can get back at Othello either by sleeping with his wife or by bringing his wife down, and by creating this idea of who she is, even if that's not who she is, creating a reputation for her that doesn't quite exist. Now we want to start looking at Othello, right? So we learn about Iago, we learn about his views, we see how he treats women, how he views women. Now we want to look into how does Iago influence Othello? What influences does he have over him? How does he either morph or change Othello's view of women? And how does Othello act from the beginning of the play towards women and Desdemona, and then how does he act at the end? So that's kind of what we're looking at. And surely you'll see that there are really two major themes, two major social issues that we're going to explore in this play, and that'll be something that we do a little bit later, but the implications of race and racism that are obviously evident at the beginning of the play, and also the implications of gender and women and how they're treated, and kind of the inequality between the genders. We'll look at that some more as we go on throughout the semester. So just read with those things in mind as you finish up the play, okay? This is just a quick little brief touching on some of the things you guys have talked about this week. We are here now into the 4th week of class, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, week 4. And in week 4, you guys are going to discuss Act 3. So remember that when you're doing your discussions, like, you know, even if the question is asking for like personal experience and things like that, you should always be tying in the play in some way, okay? You're definitely showing that you've read the acts and you're caught up on your reading, and then you're making that relevant to today's world and your personal experiences. If you're just writing about your personal experiences, it's not really content driven. So let's make sure we include the play some. And so we'll talk about Act 3 this week, and you guys will finish reading the play by the end of the week. So Acts 4 and 5, okay? So I know that seems like a lot, but they're shorter than the other ones, so it shouldn't be as difficult to finish those up. And definitely make sure that in your journal you're citing your evidence. You'll be able to use these things later on in the course, so that's important. So make sure that you're doing that. So you have your discussion forum, which you should be working on at the beginning of the week. Let me remind everyone that your initial post should be done by Thursday night. And I have a lot of you guys who are coming on Sunday and doing an initial post and 2 replies, and that is not helpful for discussion. So please try to get your initial posts done by Thursday night so that people can read them and respond to them, okay? And then the replies by Sunday night. Thursday night's Valentine's Day, so you might want to do it a little earlier. You might want to jump on it by Wednesday, okay? Next week, just so you're aware, the 18th to the 24th, we'll review MLA format. You guys will have a discussion forum, and then you guys are going to be watching Othello, the movie O, okay? And the movie O, you can purchase it on YouTube for $2.99 to view it, but I'm also going to show it here on campus once for free. So on Friday, February 22nd at 9:30 a.m. here in the Waller building, I will be having a free viewing of the movie O. So you're welcome to come see it for free and just take notes and not have to purchase it on your own, okay? And I'll let you guys know about exactly where once I get the room nailed down. But pencil that in, Friday, February 22nd, so that you're aware that we're going to be having a free viewing of that film. And your comparative literary analysis is to compare the movie to the film, the film to the play. So you have to watch the movie to be able to do the writing assignment. So pencil that in for Friday, February 22nd, 9:30 a.m. And I'll let you know about the location. It will be in the Waller building here at LCC's main campus, but I will also provide a link for you to watch the movie on your own if you choose to do so, okay? If you guys have any questions, shoot me an email. The only thing you need to be working on this week is getting your initial post done for the discussion forum on Act 3 by Thursday, your 2 replies by Sunday, and your journal by Sunday. Remember that journal assignments are your attendance assignments, and if you miss 2 weeks in a row, 2 journals in a row, you can be dropped from the class. So it's imperative that you guys are staying on top of those. Email me with questions, and I will catch you guys next week.